What's up, y'all? It's Nikki Rose. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm back with another video, and this video is a faith-based video. I'm so excited to start incorporating these videos into my channel because y'all know I love to talk about Jesus. I love to talk about God. So this is the very first video to the start of my Bible study series. I'm so excited. So this Bible study series is going to consist of a lot of things. We're gonna get into different topics about faith and everything. This video, I'm going to be talking about how to grow your relationship with God, what has personally helped me grow my relationship, especially somebody that you probably were raised Christian but you didn't have a relationship with God, or maybe you're just seeking a relationship with Jesus in the first place. You know what I mean? So I'm going to share tips that personally helped me. Hopefully I can help somebody out there grow their relationship. So let's just get straight into it, y'all. Okay, so the first things first, you need to get you a Bible. I don't know if you're an iPad type of person or you need a physical book. I personally wanted a physical Bible. I was reading the Bible on my Bible app on my phone, but I don't know, I really needed to get a actual Bible so that I can flip the pages. Like, I just needed something. So I got a Bible. This is the one that I have. It's not a study Bible, it's just a regular Bible on Amazon. I'll link it down below. I have the NIV version. That's just the easiest version for me to understand personally. First step is get into your word daily. Daily bread. And the Bible says man shall not live by bread alone but by the word of God. So you need to get in your word every single day. Even if you're only reading one verse, just try, just try, because it's gonna be days where you don't feel like reading the Bible, and it's gonna be days where you feel like reading so much. And don't force yourself to do it like it's a checklist. Oh, I just read my Bible for the day, I'm good. Like, no, actually read, and read to understand. For me personally, when I first started my relationship with God, started my walk with God, I started in the New Testament, because I know some people are like, well, where do I start? Where do I read? The New Testament. Okay, started from Matthew. And I know we always hear the story about miracles that Jesus performed, the crucifixion of Jesus. I've heard it my whole life, but I've never read it myself. And when I tell you guys, it changed my perspective on the love of God, the love of Jesus. Like, I used to think like, it's not really no point of reading the Bible. Like, I don't really need to. No, you need to. It's so much wisdom in there. It's just so much reassurance. It's crazy. So if you're new to your faith and you're new to this walk, or simply you just want to just get closer, grow closer with Jesus, grow closer with God, you can't get to God without believing in Jesus. So that's why I say start in the New Testament. Read Matthew, Mark, Luke. Like, read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Read all that. They talk about the miracles Jesus performed in detail. It talks about the crucifixion, what Jesus went through, things that he said. Like, it gets deep. I'm not even lying, y'all. The day that I finished reading Matthew, I bawled my eyes out. I was crying so much because it really just hit me and made me like realize how much Jesus truly loves us, how much God loves us. Like, it was so crazy. So the next thing that I would say is, whenever I first started reading the Bible, I would just read and then go about my day. But then it's kind of like in the moment, everything sinks in, but once you get back into your day-to-day activities, you kind of forget what you read about. I started finding myself reading the Bible really fast, but then I couldn't even remember what I was reading, if that makes sense. So I kind of started over a little bit, and each chapter that I read, I write a summary. So you can take notes, pen to paper, you can take notes on your phone, on your iPad. I personally take them on my phone. So let me show you guys, because for me, I do it on my phone because it's faster. My notes app, I have a notes called Bible Notes. I have Bible Notes, and then each chapter I read, I write a short summary of what I just read, and it really helps a lot. Like, say I need to refer back to something, I have it all on my phone. Say I read Romans chapter 1. Once I read that whole chapter, I write a summary about what it meant to me. It doesn't have to be super articulate. Just write whatever it meant to you or what you understood at the time, because when I tell y'all, God is so funny. Different Bible verses can have so many different meanings to the season that you're in. So it's times where I read the Bible, I'll read a certain Bible verse and it really resonates with me in that season. and then say I read it a couple months later when I'm in a different season and it has a completely different meaning. That's why it's good to take notes from your perspective, because sometimes when you go back and read it, you're like, oh, like that makes sense. I saw it in this perspective at this time because I was in this season. Now I'm out of that season and in this season of my life, and I'm reading it again and it means a completely different thing. You know what I mean? So take notes. Every time you read, take notes. The next thing I would say is get you a devotional, a daily devotional that you can read every single day. I have two. One of them is called In God's Presence. It'll be linked in my Amazon storefront. It's by Bridget Marie. Every single day, it has a little summary with the Bible verse at the top. For me, sometimes God will lead me to read a certain book in the Bible, and sometimes I start to get confused. I don't know what I should read, or I'll be reading something and it doesn't resonate with my season because I'm kind of forcing myself to read something. But other times, I go by my devotional. So this is the other one that I have. This is the one that I use pretty much every single day. I don't really use the other one anymore, but this one is one that I use. It's called Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. Every single time I post it, people always ask me what devotional it is. So Jesus Calling, it'll be linked in my Amazon storefront. I love this one because, for example, it'll have like a devotional for the day, and then at the bottom it has Bible verses that resonate with the devotional. Personally, I love it because it has multiple Bible verses, not just one. And so sometimes I'll read my devotional and it really hits home that day. So I go in the Bible personally and I read that whole chapter. Sometimes it helps a lot because I be confused sometimes on what I should read. So having a devotional helps a lot because sometimes, you know, just diving right into the Bible, it can be a little confusing. But when you have a devotional to read every single day, it starts a habit because it's once a day. You know, even sometimes if you just read the devotional and go to the Bible and read those verses as a start, instead of just trying to force yourself to read chapter after chapter after chapter, that devotional helps so much. My morning routine, once I wake up, I try not to get on my phone. It's a habit. After I make my bed, I pray. Then after like brushing my teeth and everything, I don't even like to scroll on my phone. I come straight to the living room and just get in my word for the day, because sometimes whenever I put it off for later in the day, it's like so much has happened throughout the day, and then, you know, once it's time for me to read my Bible, I'm like so tired, you know, something. I was really busy. So when I push it off later into the day, it's just kind of like I'm trying to get it over with. But when I do it first thing in the morning, it sets the tone for the rest of the day. It puts me at peace and it kind of sticks with me for the whole day. Another thing that really helps me with my relationship with God is having a prayer life, okay? Yes, you can read your Bible as much as you want, but to really get in communion with God, you need to have a prayer life, babe. You need to pray. Something that I've been learning recently is pray without ceasing. You don't have to have a super special way to pray, or it's no exact right or wrong way to pray. The way you communicate with God is y'all's relationship. It's between you guys, you know? Sometimes you can just be having a conversation and it's just normal. Sometimes you can really get into deep prayer. It's not no right or wrong way. So don't let anybody try to make you feel like you have to use all these big words to pray. You don't need to do that. Just make sure that when you're speaking to God, you go to your quiet place. So I recommend making a prayer closet or something just to be able to be intimate with God. So for me personally, I do have a prayer closet. Sometimes I go in there and really speak to God. Sometimes I'm in my room. Sometimes I'm out here. Sometimes I pray in my head. Sometimes I pray out loud. I'm talking to God in the car. Like, you know what I mean? Just learn to always be in communion with God. Sometimes when I talk to God, especially days where I'm very agitated or maybe I'm just not in a good mood, I talk to God like he's my best friend. I'm like, this is how I feel. I'm gonna be real. I already know you know how I feel, but I'm just gonna let you know, like, you know, this is how I feel. And I will literally just talk as if I'm talking to my friend. You know what I mean? Make sure you do have a prayer life and try to pray without ceasing. Every little thing, I kid you not, pray about it. You may think that it's the smallest thing, you don't have to talk to God about it. I promise you it will help so much. You can pray about the smallest thing and God will give you an answer. Set timers. You know, if you don't really remember to pray, set timers on your phone throughout the day. And when you pray to God, you don't have to be praying for something. Sometimes you can just be in thanksgiving, just thanking God for what he's done, thanking him for what he's going to do in advance. Maybe you are praying for something. Maybe you're praying for your friends. Maybe you're praying for breakthrough in a certain area. You know, you could pray about anything, y'all. Anything. So that leads me to my next point. People always ask, how do I hear from God? How do I know when he's talking to me? How do I discern if it's my thoughts or his thoughts or if it's the enemy? For one, God talks to us through the word, okay? So that's why it's so important to get in your word. When God speaks to you, you will know if it's from him because you will have that discernment, for one. Two, his thoughts and his words align with the Bible. God may speak to you a word about what you need to be doing in this specific season, and it will kind of align with maybe something that you already read. For me personally, I know God is speaking to me whenever it's a thought that I have that I didn't have before, if that makes sense. Like, I know I didn't just think of this. Usually that thought is something that leads me closer to him or leads me closer to peace, joy, happiness, the fruits of the spirit. Sometimes the enemy will put a thought in my head and that thought will lead me more to destruction, will lead me more to temptation, making a bad decision, making me feel like I'm not good enough. So like things that don't make me feel good, that don't bring me closer to peace and closer to love and closer to joy, I know it's from the enemy. Also, if God speaks to you, you can take it back to him. Pray about it and be like, God, please give me confirmation if this was from you. Is this something that I need to be doing? He will give you confirmation. For example, it's a season in my life that I'm in right now, and I have to rely on God so much during this season, y'all. So it was something that he was telling me to do. It didn't really make sense. And a lot of the times when God speaks to us, it may not make sense in the flesh, but in the spiritual, it makes sense. And so sometimes you have to feed everything through the spirit. And I was sitting and I was like, I don't really understand, you know, why God is telling me to do this. It is a desire that I have. It's something that I'm really passionate about, but I just don't really know if this makes sense for me to be doing right now. I was like, God, please give me confirmation if this is what you need me to be doing, because I feel like doing my plan B will make more sense right now. And God was like, no, you don't need to do that plan B. You need to do what I'm telling you to do. It's his will, it's his bill. You know what I mean? So he's telling me he's gonna provide. I just need to trust in him because it was a testing of my faith. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, then I start to second guess. So I prayed. I'm like, God, please give me confirmation. If this is what you need me to be doing, give me confirmation. I kid you not, y'all. 2 seconds later, I opened up my phone. First thing I see, confirmation. I'm like, okay. I could have easily got too caught up and been like, maybe that was my thought. Maybe God didn't say that. But right when I prayed and asked God to give me that confirmation, guess what? He gave it to me. So if y'all don't know if a word is from God, even after, you know, trying to discern, just pray about it. Another way you can hear from God is by fasting and praying. So I know a lot of people always try to do like the Daniel fast and all these other types of fasts. To be honest with you, personally, when I fasted, I don't really like do a Daniel fast where I'm like, okay, I'm only gonna eat fruit. Whenever I fast, it's because God told me to. So like, God will tell me when he wants me to fast and for how long. And when you fast, you don't need to post it, you don't need to announce it, you don't need to tell people that you're fasting. It's not something that you feel like you need to get human validation from. It should be something intimate between you and God. When I fast, I'm not really fasting for like a materialistic thing. I may be fasting for like a breakthrough in a certain area of my life. Let me give you guys a little testimony. The first time I ever fasted, it was to hear from God, because it was in the beginning of my walk with God, and I just felt like I wasn't hearing him, and I was getting kind of frustrated because it just kind of felt like emptiness. You know, I didn't know if I was hearing from God. I didn't know if he was talking to me. Me personally, I took it upon myself. I did a 24-hour fast, only water. And keep in mind, it was my first time fasting. I've never fasted ever before. My whole intention behind it was to hear from God. I'm like, God, I'm fasting so that I can hear from you, so that you can speak to me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to hear you clearer. I want to know that you are speaking to me. So I fasted 24 hours. While I was fasting, I was praying. Like, you have to be in consistent prayer, not just fasting, giving up a meal, and then but you're still going about your day doing your own thing. No. If you're gonna fast, I suggest maybe you take a certain day out of the week where you're not really doing anything, so that you can really dedicate it to God. The times where I would be eating a meal, so like eating breakfast, eating lunch, eating dinner, I was in prayer. Times where I felt a little bit discouraged, where I was getting really hungry, I just went into worship. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit challenging because it was my first fast. The enemy was trying to make me break my fast. I thought about breaking it so many times. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done 24 hours. Maybe this is too much, but I did it. I went through with it because I was like, at the end of the day, I'm doing this for God. I want to hear from him. So that's the whole reason why I'm fasting right now. And kid you not, right when I broke the fast, after the 24 hours, and I woke up, instantly I was hearing from God. He was speaking to me, and ever since then I've been able to hear him. Fasting will help you so much, especially when you have a good intention behind it. Sometimes I see people fasting and they're like, well, I can fast and, you know, since I'm already not eating, I'm gonna lose some weight too. Like, if your intention isn't correct behind the point of the fast, whatever you're fasting for may not come to pass because you don't have the correct heart posture behind it. All these things are things you can pray for. Make sure you pray to God to have the correct heart posture going into anything, doing it with the right intent, doing it with love. So something else I would say is that make sure you have self-discipline to be able to get into your word daily, because motivation is just a feeling. So you may feel motivated, like, oh, I really want to work on my relationship with God, I want to get closer with him. You're gonna feel motivated. Motivation is a feeling, babe. It's going to go away. So you need to have that self-discipline to be able to be like, okay, I need to spend time with God today. Even though I don't feel like it, even though I'm tired, I'm still going to take time out of my day to be in communion with God, even if it's just a little portion of your day. And trust, it makes all the difference. It's days that I don't feel like reading my Bible. It's days I don't really feel like praying, or I may not pray as much. I have that discipline to do it anyways. Of course, sometimes it's days I do it more, but since I've already set that foundation and I have that discipline, I do it every single day. Another way to get closer to God is to be in relationships and friendships with people that are equally yoked and are chasing the same thing. Say you're somebody that used to go out a lot, that used to party a lot, so all of your friends are people that go to the club and all of that, and you're not really trying to do that anymore, but you want to make Christian friends. Go to church. You know what I mean? Go to church. Go be part of the youth groups. Just get into a community. Find a local church that you like, or local Bible study group, or you can even start your own. You can even start your own Bible study group in your city, in your area, wherever you live, even virtually online, to be in a community of people, because it's going to be times where you're going through spiritual warfare and you don't need people in the world in your ear to make you fall into sin. You need people that are like-minded to lift you up in those situations. So the last point I wanted to say is denying your flesh. So when I first started walking with God, I did not know what denying your flesh was. I've never heard that at church. Denying your flesh is pretty much whenever you are saying no to the things of this world and doing things that are going to feed your spirit. So when you are on this walk with God, temptations are going to come, and it's going to be things that your flesh wants to do. It's only going to give you temporary satisfaction. Maybe you're somebody that smokes or somebody that drinks. You know you don't need to be doing those things, but it's only your flesh that wants to do it. The spirit that dwells in you doesn't want to do those things. When the enemy tempts you, he's going to tempt you by tempting your flesh. He's going to give you all these temptations, and your flesh is going to want to do it. But you have to know and have that discernment, like, okay, I need to deny my flesh and continue to pick up my cross and walk with God, because that's what matters. You're giving up things of this world and picking God, and he will reward you for that. But at the same time, don't seek God for what he can do for you. Don't seek his hand, but seek his heart. So when you truly want to please God, you're not going to want to do those things, and those desires start to wean off of you. Denying your flesh is super important. It's really hard, especially when you're giving up a lot of things that you used to enjoy and that you may still enjoy. I'm not going to sit here in front. Something that I used to enjoy a lot was going to the club. I loved going out. I loved getting dressed and going out, having a good time with my girlfriends, drinking. I used to enjoy those things a lot, and I'm not going to sit here in front like, yeah, I hate it now. No, sometimes I'd be watching people's story. I'm like, dang, like I kind of wish I could still do that. But at the same time, I'm like, I know that's just my flesh. My flesh just desires those things. I try to walk in the spirit. I'm not gonna sit here in front like it's the easiest thing ever, but it's worth it. A Bible verse that I live by, especially in this season that I'm in right now, is Galatians 6:9, and it says, do not grow weary in doing good, for in due time you will reap if you don't give up. I'm just focused on sowing good so that I can reap good. Because if I sow into the world and I start doing all these things I don't need to be doing, y'all, that's what I'm gonna reap. And then I'm gonna be sitting here like, why are all these things happening to me? Girl, you're just reaping what you're sowing. People love to give the enemy credit and be like, the enemy's doing this, the enemy's doing that. No, these are just consequences of your actions, babe. That's all it is. Those are just a couple tips that I wanted to give you guys to grow your relationship with God. I really pray that this reached the right audience out there, especially people that are really seeking that relationship with God. I pray for everybody on the other side of the screen. I pray that your relationship with God strengthens. I pray that you'll just have the strength to endure and just to continue to walk this narrow path, because it does get hard, but you have God on your side. That makes it 10 times easier, 100 times easier actually. Comment some more topics that you guys want me to do for this Bible study series. I just feel like this was a good video just for the first one, just how to grow your relationship, but we can really get into it. We can really get deep into it. So y'all just let me know down below, and just any other type of videos that you guys want to see on my channel in general. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.